My friends, in this video we will talk about a video of a trench takeover by the Ukrainians that is circulating on the internet. We will analyze what actually happened there and how it happened and what tactics were used by the Ukrainians. But before the video, I ask everyone to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment below. This will help us grow and keep you always well informed. It has been 2 weeks since the beginning of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Modest victories have been achieved so far, but a video is circulating on the internet that shows how heavy combat in a trench is and how attention and preparation make a difference in trench combat. The aforementioned video that is circulating we cannot put here, after all it contains very strong scenes. In the video it is possible to see a Ukrainian unit entering a Russian trench and using assault tactics and killing many Russian soldiers. But what tactics were used by the Ukrainians and what mistakes were made by the Russian soldiers? First, it is necessary to discuss the importance of trenches. Trenches have been used for a long time, but their use was widely disseminated in First World War. Trench warfare was a striking phase of First World War. So much so that it became a symbol of this conflict. During this phase of the war, for the first time in history, modern technologies were used on the battlefield, such as electricity, chemical weapons and radio, submarines, warplanes, among others. It was also in this war that very advanced and destructive weapons such as machine guns and artillery pieces began to be employed. With more powerful weapons, the solution was to go for trench warfare. Trench warfare is a type of ground combat in which troops fight from their respective trenches. The trenches are long excavations made in the ground that serve as shelter for troops and have protections made with obstacles such as barbed wire and landmines. The protection is also reinforced with walls made of sandbags both in front and behind the trenches. The excavations are deep enough for fighters to stand up fully protected. They are approximately 2 meters deep. The trenches are narrow and very long, as can be seen in the circulating video. However, dimensions may vary according to needs and resources available to troops. The use of trenches is for both attack and defense, but defending a trench is less complicated than attacking it. Attacking and conquering a trench is very dangerous. However, since the soldier defending a trench is buried, he may lose consciousness of the situation, losing attention. In other words, with an attention deficit, unless the defender is using equipment such as periscopes and drones, the enemy can approach unnoticed. With this, the defender will have little time to organize a solid defense. For months the Russian army dug trenches seeking to defend conquered territories, some small and others huge with entire companies operating in them. But even in a huge trench with great defense, if attention is lost it becomes fragile. And because it is narrow and usually has many curves it can be taken by a much inferior force, that is to say that numerical factor will not make much difference in fierce combat such as happens in the circulating video. This is one disadvantage of a trench, being narrow, attack and defense forces face each other on a very narrow line. With this, if a trench is attacked by a very well-trained unit with more advanced attack supports such as drones, it is possible to take over a trench with a team much smaller in number than the unit defending it. And everything indicates that this was exactly what happened in the circulating video. In the circulating video it is possible to see that the Ukrainian Special Forces unit attacking the trench is very well trained and specialized in infiltrations, and it is possible to see that at the beginning the Russian soldiers who are neutralized were unarmed, making it clear that they were caught by surprise. We also notice the professionalism of the Ukrainian soldiers, taking special care with corners. Another detail that catches our attention is that the Ukrainians shout phrases and orders in Russian that are usually used by the Russian army, which contributes to the confusion of the defender, who hearing phrases and orders in Russian ends up exposing himself to the attacking force, which makes it easier for him to be eliminated. We also notice the use of silencers by the Ukrainians, and this is also important because the muffled sound of gunfire prevents the defender from estimating distance and location of Ukrainian soldiers. Another thing that was possible to notice is the use of grenades that are used in the most difficult points and were used especially to dislodge defenders. In such a well-executed attack with such a high level of surprise, it becomes clear that the attack was well planned and studied well in advance, choosing a moment when Russians would be more inattentive and busy with other tasks such as cleaning, for example. But it is not just a matter of inattention and surprise of attack. There is another element that needs to be talked about: the lack of professionalism and great unpreparedness of Russian soldiers. At one point it is possible to see a Russian soldier being neutralized at a corner in an almost casual posture with his weapon pointed down as if he were walking on a sidewalk. And this does not match trench combat. In a trench under attack, all corners need to be checked. After all, in every corner there may be an enemy hidden ready to eliminate his opponent. It is no longer a secret to anyone that many Ukrainian soldiers have been and are being trained by NATO countries, and many are receiving specialized training for this type of combat. The Ukrainians know the type of defense organized by the Russians, basically composed of trenches, and have prepared especially for this type of combat, and this was very evident in the circulating video. On the Russian side, it is noted that they are underestimating the quality and disposition of Ukrainian soldiers, and this is extremely dangerous for defending already conquered points. After all, Ukrainian soldiers are well trained and equipped with weapons and equipment provided by NATO countries, and with the months that have passed they already have enough combat experience to cause enormous damage to the Russian aggressor. The Ukrainians are now well equipped, trained, and have the disposition to fight against a recognized more powerful aggressor, and this always makes an army more dangerous. And apparently this is being underestimated by the Russians. Friends, thank you for getting here in the video. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we leave the link to the video where Ukrainian soldiers take over the Russian trench. We cannot put it here because it has strong scenes. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.